What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to a happy player ratings after the Reds have gone over to Marseille and beaten Roberto De Zerbi's men by 3-0. A result that all but places Liverpool's Champions League ambitions back in our own hands and means we will be in the top 8 with a victory over Karabag next week, which means no playoff round for us, meaning 2 less games for the lads. So we'll do what we always do, go through the referee, the players, the manager and the substitutes, giving them all a score out of 10. Feel free to play along in the comments if you haven't already submitted your scores. If you want to do so in the future, make sure you're signed up to the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp. Use the QR code in the bottom corner or the link in the description of this video. As always, there'll be 2 scores in every player card. The upper corner is the average audience score and the large square in the centre is mine. Loads to get through, so let's get cracking with the referee. I have to say, I thought he was terrible. I really do think he was terrible. I know I say that quite a lot about referees, but he gave every little soft free kick he could possibly give. Every time somebody went to ground, he was blowing it and slowing the game down. Every corner we got, he seemed to take 30 or 45 seconds to talk to the Marseille players. And again, I just found it monotonous and very European standard of refereeing. So for me, I'm going to give the referee a 4.5. The audience have gone higher, but I honestly thought he was frustrating to say the least. And I'm fed up of referees in Europe stopping the flow of games by being so picky like he was. Next up, Allison Becker. Well, look, he had a very good performance, didn't he? A big save in the first half and an even bigger one late in the second half when Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang had a chance that may have given us a squeaky bum time for the last few minutes, but thankfully Allison was there, as he always has been over the years. So for the big man tonight, he gets a score of 7.5 from me and a 7.4 from the Anfield Agenda audience. Next up, Jeremie Frimpong, who really did have a great game. I thought both of our fullbacks were nothing short of exceptional tonight and were big reasons why we won that game. I had wondered how Jeremie was going to get on when he was put back into the right back position and Salah was back. We know when Mo was away, he was being used a lot further forward, and today I liked that balance. Him holding a wide position on the right and Salah on the inside track. So for Jeremie today, look, he all but got a goal, didn't he? That own goal was his making. So we're going to give him a score of 8 today. And the audience have gone a little bit lower with a score of 7.7, but it was a very good display from Jeremie Frimpong. And of course, we'll talk about Milos Kerkez in a moment. Next up, Joe Gomez, who of course came in place of Ibrahim Konate, who had a family emergency. We sincerely hope everything is okay with the Konate family. But let's give Joe his plaudits today. He came in and did a really good job. I mean, Virgil went out of his way to say that they have played together for years. They're good friends and that understanding is there. And Joe really did show up tonight and was part of a very good, assured defensive performance. So for Joe, he gets a 7 from me and a 7.3 from the Anfield Agenda audience. But do let us know in the comments what you think about Joe's performance. And we had a poll at the end of the match reaction, would you start Joe against Bournemouth at the weekend? And 88% of people said yes, they would. Right, next up, it is our captain, Virgil Van Dijk. Much like I just said about Joe Gomez, a good performance. Dealt with everything earlier that came in. We're always going to have some chances against us. But if you looked at that game tonight and just looked at the stats, it would look like a far closer game than it was. In reality, I thought Liverpool were comfortable winners. And well done to Virg for leading the boys through it. So for me, Virg gets a score of 7. And the audience has gone a bit higher with a 7.1. Milos Kerkez. So I'm not going to get away from it. I'm not going to hide from it. I said before the game, this will either be an inspired decision or it will be a decision that will bite us in the backside. And it turns out to be the inspired decision because Milos Kerkez was nothing short of sensational out there tonight. He was my man of the match, but not the Anfield Agenda man of the match. He was second in that poll. I thought he was incredible. The 1-2 he had with Kerkez that set up the opportunity for Florian Wirtz was one of my favourite moments of the game. Got the ball, gave it and drove inside. Really good performance from Milos tonight. So much like Jeremie Frimpong, I'm going to give him a score of 8. I thought he was sensational. And the audience agreeing with a score there of 7.8 for Milos Kerkez. Now into midfield and Ryan Gravenberch. And look, we weren't as easy to play through in the midfield, but I'm still not entirely happy with what I am seeing in the midfield. And I thought that Ryan was okay today. We were a little bit sloppy in possession throughout the midfield. So that, bearing in mind, I've gone with a score of 6.5 for Ryan, and the audience a little bit higher with a score there of 6.9. Now, look, I'm not trying to say our midfield was wide open because we certainly didn't give up as many chances as we did, but I still just don't think the balance in there is quite right just yet. You really can see that we're lacking a proper number 6, which, hey, may unleash Ryan Gravenberch in going forward. Maka. Again, a decent shift from Alexis McAllister as he continues to come into form this season. But yeah, nothing more than that for me. I thought it was a decent shift. So for Maka, I've given him a score of 6, and the audience have gone a little bit higher there with a score of 6.4 for Alexis McAllister. Now to Dominik Szoboszlai, who was your Anfield Agenda man of the match. I think winning out by 2% higher than Milos Kerkez. Look, I want to talk about his free kick first. I wondered immediately after he scored it, was it something they'd looked at and worked on and maybe were mindful of the fact there wouldn't be somebody lying behind the wall. And he said in his post-match interview, yes, it is something they've done their homework on. That being said, he still has to execute the opportunity, and he did. It was a wonderful free kick. There were times tonight, though, where I was frustrated with some of his passing and his final balls, but all in all, it was a very, very good performance from Dominik Szoboszlai, and the free kick was sensational. So for me, I'm giving Dom a score of 7.5, and the audience have gone higher with a score there for Mr. Szoboszlai of 7.8. Next up, Wirtz. I didn't think it was a good performance. A player that, we know how good he is and how good he has been, and his improvements have been clear. Tonight felt like one of those that just wasn't his night. Touch always seemed a little bit heavy, a bit wasteful with opportunities that he was presented with as well. And again, I love the kid, and I will always defend him against anybody who tries to knock him. But tonight, of all the players out there, he's probably the one that I felt was the most shaky in that performance. So I've given him a score of 5.5, and the audience have gone a lot higher with a 6.7. And I say this as somebody who is a big Wirtz fan, but tonight I just thought he just wasn't up to the pace of the game. Next up, Mohamed Salah. Another one who probably wasn't up to the pace of the game, but did like the position he was occupying. He'll know he should have had himself a goal today, and he was unlucky with a header that just drifted wide, which I think would have been offside. Set up and started the move as well, which Ryan Gravenberch won the ball in midfield, played it to him. He then laid it out to Dominik Szoboszlai, who squared it for Ekitike for that initial goal that was correctly ruled out for offside. But again, it was good to see Mo come in and get straight back into the team. He knows he was wasteful in front of goal, and hopefully his shooting boots will return. So I'm giving Mo a score tonight of 6, and the audience have gone a little bit lower for Mo with a score of 5.7. You might be saying, how have I given him a lower score than Florian Wirtz? But Wirtz has come into this game in very good form, and I honestly feel tonight it was one of the few times I felt disappointed with him this season, hence the lower score than Mo. Next up, Hugo Ekitike. Again, really good performance. Probably will feel like he should have had a goal. Went a little bit too early and was correctly adjudged offside. But again, just dropping into the channels, making space. He's just so clever as a footballer. And again, I cannot wait to see how this attack develops when we start to get players back as well. So for Mr. Hugo Ekitike tonight, ladies and gents, it's a score of 7 from me and a 6.9 from the Anfield Agenda audience. But do let us know your thoughts on, of course, his new hairdo as well as his performance this evening. Moving on now to Curtis Jones, who I thought would have started the game, in all honesty, but the manager decided to bring him on late, or maybe saving his legs for Bournemouth. I think he did okay when he came on. Nothing too dramatic either way. So he gets the pretty much average substitution score of a 6 from me, and it's a little bit lower, but it's a 5.8 from the Anfield Agenda audience. Next up, Cody Gakpo. Look, we will all have our conversations about whether we think Cody Gakpo is limited as a winger or not. But what we won't debate is that the man knows where the back of the net is. And once again this evening, when that chance presented itself to him, you never had any doubt, did you? When he got it out of his feet and opened up his body, that ball was going in the net. So well done to Cody Gakpo on a very good finish, coming off the bench and grabbing himself a goal. He might not be the most diverse, the most outrageous of left wingers, but when he does present himself or get an opportunity presented to him, more often than not, he knows where the back of the net is, and that counts for a lot. He always chips in with his goals and assists. So for me tonight, he gets a 6.5, and the audience have gone a little bit higher with a score for Cody Gakpo of 6.6. Now our manager, ARNE, somebody who has come in for a lot of criticism for me and many others this season, and rightly so. But tonight he got it right. He got it right against Arsenal with a rigid defensive display. He went over to the Giuseppe Meazza and got a difficult victory over Inter Milan, albeit it was with the help of a late penalty. Nonetheless, we kept a clean sheet and won. And tonight, this was a game I built up all week as a huge one. An atmosphere that was going to be hard and hostile to go into against a team that were free scoring and full of confidence. And we beat them, and we beat them convincingly. So the manager deserves all the plaudits for the game plan and the way it was initiated tonight. The players responded. I wish he didn't talk about the low block in the post-match interview, but, you know, he always has to squeeze it in somewhere. But honestly, I criticise when I think it needs to be criticised, and I praise when I think it needs to be praised. Tonight was a good European performance that showed pedigree, and it showed that we are to be taken seriously in this competition. So for ARNE Slot, ladies and gentlemen, score-wise for me tonight, I've given him a score of 7.5 because, again, I really do think he got the game plan spot on. Against Roberto De Zerbi's team, you have to be at it, and you have to have your wits about you at all times because they will try to play around the press and look for any vulnerabilities, and we didn't really give them much. So well done to ARNE and the boys for that. It's a 7.5 from me and a 6.4 from the Anfield Agenda viewers. So ladies and gentlemen, that is it for our player ratings video. A quick reminder that we will be back tomorrow morning. Connor will be here with 10 a.m. with a news update. I'll be back late evening about 4:30 with another one. And then we'll have the late night agenda tomorrow night as well. As always, thank you for all of your support. As you can see in the top corner, we're closing in on 370,000 subscribers, and every single one of you that hits that subscribe button helps us move a little bit closer to that dream of 1 million. If you haven't joined the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp, well, here's another reason for you to do it. As well as being able to get the latest transfer news, polls, and help in the future shaping the channel, we will be launching monthly giveaways as well with our friends at the Collector's Corner, and you'll have to be in the WhatsApp group to be part of those giveaways. So make sure you scan that QR code in the bottom corner and get yourself in. Right, ladies and gents, I'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy it for now. These are the type of nights and results that we should be celebrating. Any good away win in Europe is one that we should be taking note of, and that scoreline didn't flatter us. We deserved the win. It was a good performance. Now it's time to go back it up with another one against Bournemouth on Saturday. We'll talk to you then. Much love.